to listen to the Lapped Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to a very special bonus show, episode 222 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor, Brandon Crowd. Hope you all are having a fantastic week. It's a Friday, doing some bonus shows. I love it. And hey, Lap Traffic Nation, don't forget, this month, the Lap Traffic Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Go make some purchases and use code LAPPED. That's LAPPED. Get 20% off as well as free shipping. Your significant other and your balls will thank you. I promise. I don't lie. I promise you on that. Oh, man. Okay, let's see. So much to do, so much to talk about. If you listen to the show on Tuesday, which I hope you did. If you didn't, go check out Tuesday's show because there were some blockbuster announcements that I made on the show. One of which is that the Lap Traffic Podcast is the official podcast of the Carnomaly 500. That's what today's bonus show is about. That's what the next 3 bonus shows, if you include this one, are going to be about. The next 3 Fridays, bonus shows dedicated to the Carnomaly 500, which is awesome. It's new for me. I had so much fun the last 2 nights, Wednesday night, Thursday night, watching the prelims and all that kind of stuff. And I'm excited for what this show is going to be for you guys, which is going to be awesome. Coming up in just a minute or two is going to be Parker Kligerman. He's going to be back-to-back shows. He was on Tuesday with Landon. He's going to be on tonight to talk about some of the racing that went down, what we can expect over the next 2 weeks with the Carnomaly 500, which if you're completely been under a rock, the Carnomaly 500 is a iRacing event. It's a 3-week event that Landon and Parker have put together through their racing platform, eRacer. Their broadcast is off the charts. You'd think you were watching Fox or NBC. That's how awesome the graphics, the quality, the level of production that they put into this. As you're going to hear, they've lost a lot of sleep over this, which is crazy. And I'm excited to be a part of it. It is so cool. So you're going to hear from Parker. You're going to hear from one of the media guys that's actually covering this from a meeting and journalistic perspective, which is awesome. And you're going to hear from a bunch of the drivers. Some of these guys made it to next week's event. Some of these guys didn't make it to the features on Wednesday and Thursday. Some of these guys got knocked out in the prelims. But what impressed me the most in recording these interviews over the last 2 nights has just been that these guys can conduct an interview. I wasn't sure what to expect from that regard. Like, are these guys, are they going to, I mean, hell, I say a lot of times, right? I know you guys hear that. I hear it myself. And I was like, all right, are these guys going to be able to, answer a few questions for a few minutes about their racing, their history, their spot, and they knocked it out of the park. I think the last half of today's show, you guys are going to love hearing from some of these guys. A lot of these names aren't going to be names that you're going to know, but they're all going to be tagged in social media. And the main goal of this is to get new eyes and viewers over to Twitch next Wednesday and Thursday for the Valvoline qualifying and the duels that are going to set up the actual main event the following week. It started with 400 drivers. That's been whittled down over the last 2 nights down to 88. And then the big event, 43 cars are racing for $15,000 in prizes, which is absolutely cool. Like I said, I'm pumped to be a part of it. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's get Parker Kligerman back on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his second appearance on the Lap Traffic Podcast. You can catch him on pit road when NBC takes over. And more importantly, right now, you can catch him in the broadcast booth for the Carnomaly 500 alongside Landon Castle. Welcome back to the show. It's Parker Kligerman. Parker, what's up, brother?
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Yeah, we're into the first 2 nights of the Carnomaly 500, just past the prelim nights, which are the craziest nights. We go from basically 400 competitors down to the top 88 in 2 nights, which was basically 10 hours of broadcast. It's just madness and insanity with all the races. We broadcasted between the consolations and the prelim features. We broadcasted 16 races in 2 nights, back to back to back. So that was wild. I think I've slept 10 hours this week. Because our whole, we have a basically 15 plus person team that works on this event. through production, myself, Landon, Joshua Mendoza, we're the partners in E-Racer, and it's I think combined we're in the thousands of man hours for an event like this. So it's a huge undertaking. It's a lot of work, but it's cool when it all comes together and we see great racing like we saw the last few nights, and big names like Kyle Busch and Elliott Sadler racing in there.
Who didn't make it, by the way.
I know, man. He was texting me afterwards. He was upset. He's a competitor. I don't think people realize, but Kyle Busch, he got sucked into iRacing through the Pro Invitationals, and I don't know if he was like skeptical of it at first, that sort of thing. And then he took it seriously and got better and better and better, and now he races all week long, all across iRacing, all the time. He loves it. He's just a racer, and he's such a cool dude. And
Kyle
he's
Busch
such
could
a competitor.
Be racing
so
grocery carts down a
I think so.
aisle, and he would be pissed off if he lost.
That's very true. Very true. So he's been great to he's actually had some great suggestions how we can improve the events for guys like himself and that sort of thing. So it's cool. But where else can you see a 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion racing side by side with media members and average Joes from around the world? It's really cool.
I talked to one of those guys. Lap Traffic Nation, you're going to hear from a guy that was literally racing side by side Kyle Busch, and his take and his thought was just hysterical. That's going to be later on in the show. You guys are going to love that. Parker, so here's what I want to start with, man. I want to start first with the broadcast side of things because I was blown away. I didn't know what to expect, right? The iRacing and the E-Racer stuff is new for me to cover and to do some stuff with. It was full-blown production from the Discord channel or the app that you guys have a full-blown media center set up through an app on the phone, which is incredible, to the broadcast, cutaways and logo flashes. And you guys do a great job calling the race. It was entertaining from a viewership perspective. I loved it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we pride ourselves on that. It's one of the things when Landon Castle and I got together and wanting to do this. We wanted, we came in thinking, let's just do the biggest events in sim racing. We were like, we're real racers that have used sim racing all our lives. We love it. We're big fans of it. We think it can do wonders for the motorsports world. And the one thing we were thinking was like, iRacing does an incredible job with some of their top series and throughout the service and making an incredible simulation. And the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series is the biggest sim racing series in the United States, and second only to the Formula One esports series in the world. That's so crazy. It's huge. Yeah. But it felt to us like there were some possibilities where we could do things that maybe iRacing wouldn't do or just doesn't want to get into. And so using their service, we felt like, hey, look, maybe we can create something that is a little bit out there, right? And one of our ethos at E-Racers do what real racing can't. And, tournaments like this and huge prize purses and unrestricted cars at Daytona and, those sorts of things, or recreating the Firecracker 400, as a nostalgia event. Like, that's just the stuff we really wanted to do and see if the community would get behind it. And sure enough, they have. And so it's been really cool. But one of the things we also looked at was on the broadcast side, hey, how can we push this world forward? How can we push the boundaries and bring new features and things to this and do things that, back to that ethos that you can't do in real life. And, we had that opportunity because of the incredible sim that iRacing has made to do different camera angles or to, put us on screen more or find different ways to broadcast it so that it's a really unique experience that you could only find on sim racing and on iRacing and E-Racer. So that's why, we put so much emphasis into those broadcast. We brought it all in-house this time. So this is entirely our team at E-Racer doing this. We've developed a ton of back-end tech that's completely proprietary to us. And that's been a huge amount of work and a huge investment on our side, but it's paying off when you see the broadcasts and how they look and feel and sound. And I think that's just really cool to see. And our whole team has done an incredible job. We had a little shaky start the first night with some issues, but then the second night was perfect. And we've developed the e-racer predictor, which is where you can get,
that's cool.
Interactive with the broadcast and the races. And, it's the stuff we just want to keep pushing the boundaries and get people so excited about this. And, you never know where all this can lead in terms of the real motorsports world taking note of what we're doing here and thinking, all right, how do we incorporate this there? And I think that if that happens, we've really felt validated in what we've done.
Absolutely. I told Landon, I said, man, I want on the broadcast team next time around, man. That's how
you don't know what you're signing up for. It's a lot of work.
All right. So I want to talk about the races. You kind of touched on it a little bit that, with as many competitors and different caliper level of competition from 400 different drivers out there. Talk a little bit about what we saw, last night specifically, that first race, man, that was a cluster bleep a little bit with how that was running. And it seemed that both nights as the races went on, as we went from the first race through the fourth race, the level of on-track competition seemed to get a little bit better, or the racing seemed to get a little bit better. And is that just because of who was out there in those specific races, or was that maybe a little bit of guys seeing, oh man, look at what happened the first race, I'm going to behave myself, I'm going to race a little bit more conservatively if they're in the fourth race? Talk a little bit about kind of what we saw both nights through races 1 and 4.
Right. So great observation. I think some of that, right off the bat is we also, one of the things we do at e-racers, we try to mimic real life weather, and we try to mimic, day to night transitions, as you saw. So some of the early prelims start in the daytime as they would in real life, and then eventually it goes into full nighttime. So it's a really, holistic experience that sort of synchronizes with the real world. So I think that helps. The grip level went up in both nights, so that the ability for the drivers to make big moves and get away with it sort of increased. But the other thing is, and this is sort of a little inside baseball and how we design these tournaments, one of the things we ran into the Firecracker 400 was that what we want to do at e-racers, we don't want to stop anyone from having the chance to be a part of these events. And what you see in iRacing a lot of times is there is restrictions on maybe your I rating or your license level, trying to sort of keep the caliber driver up to the top. And for us, we thought, we want this to be more of an open event. We want it to be something where someone who maybe doesn't race all the time to have a super high I rating could still enter an e-racer event. And if they're pretty talented and have things go their way, they could find themselves racing against world championship drivers or a driver like Kyle Busch. And so what we did after the Firecracker and the way we designed it there is we tried to come up with a tournament style that maybe would weed out some of the people before they got to that feature prelim that maybe, didn't have the skill level to be there. Right. So we've tried to design it that way, and in no way do I want to put anyone down. It's just saying, sure, basically, look, we want to try and have some clean races. We want to have races that put on a good show. And so, but at the same token, we want to let everyone in. So, how do you do that, right? This isn't something you run into real life where you have 400 competitors and all different skill levels. Normally it's a pretty similar skill level on the racetrack. So we had to come up with a way to do that. And that was the way we came up with it, was through, heat races, a consolation race, and eventually a prelim feature. So, you might have noticed some of those consolations were maybe a little crazier than the features. And that's, just down to the skill levels of those involved. So I think that's it's something that's an evolving process. We came up with this newer format this time from the Firecracker 400 to this Carnomaly 500. But I still think, when we look at it and we look at what happened and we dissect the last two nights and we get past this event, we'll find other areas to iterate and evolve and, sort of try to find ways to continue to make that process better, more seamless, and have the best, drivers putting on the best show at the right times.
Sure. No, man, I love that. That's fantastic. All right. Next thing I want to talk about is talk to me a little bit about cautions. What will trigger, because I had asked some of the drivers this a little bit, and they had given the impression that it was, possibly the amount of damage that the car takes on during a wreck or something like that might trigger the caution. So we saw cautions at different times with different severity. How did the caution creation come into play, if you will? Break down the cautions for us, I guess.
Right. So what we do, you can in iRacing have what's called iRacing controlled cautions, which is the game will, or the simulation will actually, decide when a caution comes out. Right. We don't use that. So we did use that in the Firecracker 400 to have less judgment calls because cautions can become big controversy of when they're called or not. We decided to refine our process and go fully to an admin controlled cautions, which means it's an actual human being calling the cautions. We have a team of race control that are up there watching everything from high level view and seeing how things are progressing. And, our policies are similar to real life, right? Now we're not dealing with safety, right?
Sure.
No one's going to get hurt racing in the sim world. But what we look at is essentially the thing that we have on offer is that we can see 2 or 3 cars at the back of a pack wreck, right? They spin out to the inside. They get going pretty quickly. The front of the whole pack is on the other side of the racetrack. Let it ride, right? Now, when we have a wreck that suddenly is in the middle of the pack and there's still 20 cars heading towards that corner, that's a caution. We don't want to end anyone's race trying to drive through a bunch of wrecked cars flying over the racetrack and that sort of thing. So it's a bit of a judgment call, but I think we've really refined our process. Joshua Mendoza is our race control, and he does an excellent job. And I think, what you saw in the last 2 nights was very seldom, if at all, there was any point where, a caution should have been called or wasn't called when, probably should have been there. And I think that is a testament to sort of the process that we put in place. You're never going to be perfect,
Sure.
right? Just like real life, right?
Yep.
We see it all the time. How many times is there controversy about when a caution does or doesn't come out in real life? That's racing, that's motorsports. But we try to blend the line between virtual and the real life of how to call cautions. And for us, it boils down to trying to make the most fair race for the competitors who have entered the event, who are trying to get their chance to go race the Carnomaly 500 for a $15,000 prize pool. That's for us. We take great weight and pride in trying to make that as fair as possible. And so we're never going to be perfect, but I feel like we're really starting to see a great process on how to do it. And I think the last 2 nights showed that.
That's awesome. All right, man. Tell everybody, what's next week's televised broadcast schedule look like? What races do we have next Wednesday and Thursday?
Right. So all of it's on Twitch at eracer_GG. Also, it's on our YouTube and Facebook. Although the big thing is, we want you to watch on Twitch and we want you to do it on a computer is because we have the Eracer Predictor, which is a Twitch extension we developed in the last couple months. This was a huge undertaking to get viewer interactivity on the broadcast where you can make picks during the races or during qualifying. There'll be prompts that come up and you win points to eventually win prizes at the end of the event and at the end of each night. So next week we have Valvoline Pole Night, where all of the top 88 will do one single lap to see who the top 2 are, which will lock into the Carnomaly 500. Then everyone else will go into the Blue Emu Battle 150s the next night on Thursday. All of this starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time on our Twitch, where they top 20 from each Blue Emu Battle 150 will transfer into the Carnomaly 500, where we'll have a 43 car field racing for that $15,000 prize pool. So it's going to be a tense week for those racing. The pole day is sometimes one of the most fun shows. I think some people might think, it's single car qualifying. Well, remember, these cars are going 240 miles an hour. And this portion is where we open the setups. So the first portion of the event, the prelims, that's all fixed setup. Drivers can't change anything on the cars. They're all in the same cars and same thing because we don't want drivers to put a ton of time and effort into building setups and then get wrecked on lap 1 and feel upset about that. Now, with the top 88, you got to build a setup. So we're going to see who has the best skills in doing that to go out for Valvoline pole, the Valvoline pole, and try and lock themselves in the Carnomaly 500. So this is where it's going to get really, really interesting to see these drivers and teams, how they, build setups, who does that the best, what sort of choices they make. And remember, as I said, these cars are unrestricted going 240 miles an hour. So this could be really fun. And the Eraser Predictor on Valvoline Pole Night is going to be awesome because every car that rolls off, you're going to be able to predict their lap time for points. So we'll have 88 predictions going throughout the broadcast. We'll have prompts that come up. it's going to be a lot of fun. You definitely got to tune in.
That's awesome. It is so interactive. There's the chat, there's the predictions, there's all that. You've got me out there, guys. Make sure you tune in Wednesday, Thursday on Eraser's Twitch and all that good stuff. Be on the lookout for links from Landon, from Parker, from Eraser's platform handles, from my platform handle, all that good stuff. This has been so much fun. Parker, I can't wait to talk to you and Landon next week. And we got 2 more weeks of this, which is awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. And, man, I can't wait to talk to you guys next week.
No, thank you, man. This is really cool. We really appreciate you being a part of it with the Lap Traffic podcast. We're big fans of the podcast, and we hope that all your listeners out there enjoy the content that's coming out of this. They come join us on the broadcast, and we keep doing this. And it's cool to see sim racing getting attention and growing. And we're just very grateful and honored, to be sort of the gateway for some people to experience sim racing at this level. So it's a lot of fun. We look forward to being back on here, and I think the next couple of weeks are going to be awesome. Although I'm going to try and find some sleep in there.
I was just going to say, man, I hope you get some.
I don't know how we're going to do that.
I want to know how Landon's going to go and drive this week.
I told him he needs to go. He needs to literally go to sleep for 12 hours tonight. Right? So
seriously.
He needs to get to Daytona and go into a coma for a bit. So
yes, absolutely.
We got to catch up on that, but it's all part of the fun, and it's a lot of work, but we do it because we love it. So
awesome, man. All right, well, stay safe, stay healthy, get some sleep, and we'll catch you next week, man.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
You too. Oh, Lap Traffic Nation, great to catch back up with Parker. Next week, it's going to be Landon on the Friday show, and then the following week, it's going to be both Landon and Parker. Might have a few other guests, looking at maybe getting David Shieldhouse on, who is the play-by-play guy. We had verbal agreement that was going to happen, so it's just a matter of setting something up and making sure that gets recorded, because I think that will add a lot of value as well. All right, we're going to keep things rolling here. I'm going to drop in here a little social media real quick. Everybody make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, YouTube, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, at Lap Traffic PC. And hey, don't forget about the giveaway at 5,500 followers, less than 250 away from giving away that Clint Boyer diecast and a Lap Traffic prize pack. And of course, make sure you're following Landon Castle, Parker Kligerman on their social media handles. I know you guys know those already, but what you may not know are the Eraser handles. So make sure you're following on Twitter, Eraser_GG. That's ERACR_GG. That's the Twitch account. Go subscribe on Twitch. That's where you can watch the live broadcast, interact in the chat and all that good stuff. And, like I said, it'll be live on there. I had the TVs pulled up with it. I had the Michigan game on, and I had the Carnomaly 500 prelims on last night side by side, which was freaking awesome. Let's see. What else? We'll do some follower shout outs next week. Stickers, koozies, of course. If you want one, visit the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Fill out the contact page. I'll get those out to you. Lap Traffic Fantasy is in full swing. I just posted a little bit ago all of the player picks for this week at the Daytona Road Course. And so the battle is just getting started in the Lap Traffic Fantasy League. I'm very excited to see how that goes. And of course, don't forget to go to manscaped.com. Use code LAPPED, LAPPED, to get 20% off, as well as free shipping. Okay. All right. We are going to keep things rolling right now. For the rest of the show, man, it's going to be so cool. First up is a guy by the name of Justin Melillo. He is over at Front Stretch, and he's covering this event from like I said at the start of the show, a more journalistic approach, doing some articles and really getting in depth on that. So if you are into this, which I hope you are, I'm getting into this, and I hope some of you, the listeners, are going to go out there and check some of this stuff out. Justin's been doing a great job on Twitter. Go follow him with the updates live as things are going on. So let's get to Justin. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line. He's one of the media members of the Carnomaly 500, which, again, I am so excited to be the official podcast of. It's something unique and different for the show, as I have said throughout the last week or so. It's really cool. He is the managing editor at the Racing Experts. He's an iRacing editor at the Front Stretch. It's Justin Melillo. Justin, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing great. How's it going?
Awesome, man. Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for hopping into the Discord lap traffic room here. I mean, when I was talking with Landon, I was just blown away when he said, hey, come on to Discord and to check it out and to get content and all that kind of stuff from there. They created a media center. It's incredible, man.
Yeah, I was really excited last year when they went through the firecracker. It was the first time that I felt. Not that I don't want to say that I haven't felt welcome for like the eNASCAR Coca-Cola events, but it was the first time that the organizers of the events had gone out of their way to try and get some sort of pseudo media center out there for guys like me, guys like Seth Aggerts, guys like Jacob Silman, who have been covering the eNASCAR stuff for the last couple of years. So it was really cool to see them get this media center set up on the Discord. It's been really great to have the press releases that have been out and have all the information that they've been feeding us. It's been fairly easy to keep up on everything. There's still a few things that I'm trying to work out and make sure that I get right, but it's I'm fairly positive I know who's going to advance by the way that they have their rules set up, who's going to be racing. I mean, they got freaking Dale Jr. in this again. They had him for the firecracker. They got him here again. They got a couple of other big name drivers that are a part of it. They do a fantastic job here at E-Racer for sure.
If Dale Jr. hops in the lap traffic radio room, I might lose my mind. So I'm not banking on it, but I will definitely lose my mind. Listen, we're talking live as the first prelim race is going on. There's about 15 laps left to go with that before we get to our first feature of the night. Tell everyone really quick a little bit about yourself, how you got into racing, over to front stretch, and all that good stuff.
Well, I just started with front stretch a couple of weeks ago, but I'll get to that in a second. I've been a NASCAR fan for my whole life. My grandfather got me into it. He sadly passed away in 2000, but I still carry him with me through my sim racing efforts. I got a little logo of his helmet. I got his helmet. It's behind me. I took his name was Bud, so Buddy. So he had a rosebud, which was his thing, and he had that on the back of his helmet. I recreated that and put that on all my sim cars, and he drives with me in the sim world, since I'm never going to get like a chance in the real world to drive. But I've been sim racing since about 2005 online. Before that, I was sim racing offline through simulators like Bill Elliott's NASCAR Challenge, NASCAR Racing 2, NASCAR Racing 99, all the Papyrus games that came out. I just recently stopped doing NASCAR Racing 2003, and now I'm fully on iRacing, and I'm trying to work my own personal iRacing career up from there. But I'm never going to be as good as some of the guys that are in this, that are doing it for a career in the eNASCAR series or in any of the other series. So my other path is through journalism and media. So I have my diploma on my wall from Hofstra University. I have a degree in the Bachelor of Arts of Journalism and Mass Media and Communications. Did that from 2008 until 2012, 4-year degree. After that, I got hooked up with somebody that I met through sim racing, Dominic Aragon. He raced in a league that we did on NASCAR 2003, and he had started the Racing Experts back in like 2010, and I started writing for him in 2014, started going to races for the Racing Experts in 2015, did all the Pocono weekends. Haven't missed a Pocono race weekend yet, hoping to continue that trend this year. I've been to 4 Daytona 500 since then, covered that for TRE. a bunch of other races across the country. Did the Homestead finale 2 years in a row. Been as far west as Kansas from where I'm at on Long Island.
Awesome.
And everything that's going on with the pandemic, unfortunately, this year doesn't look like I'm going to be able to travel much.
Sure.
But
Yep.
I did hook up with Front Stretch, and I just started writing for Front Stretch about 2 weeks ago. And we're going to be writing some great eNASCAR content. I'm still trying to get my bearings over there. I'm working with Brandon Hoff this year, and Tom Bowles is the editor over at Front Stretch, and he's a great dude, and I'm really happy to be working with them. So we're going to be covering this like we did the Firecracker last year. E-Racer, like I said, they put on a great event. It's worth covering, and they make it worth covering with everything that they give us over here.
That's awesome, man. I love that. I'm glad that, I'm new to the e-racing world, right? I want to sim some of these days. It's like, man, I came so close to pulling the trigger during the pandemic and like telling my wife, hey, you know what? I'm taking some money. I'm buying a sim and let's get this thing going. And she was like, it's podcasting or sim racing. What's it going to be? And I'm like, I'm going to stick with the podcasting because that's going pretty well right now. So, but man, I would love to get into something like that. That's awesome. Talk a little bit about the Carnomaly 500. You obviously know some of the drivers and what's going on there. Who do you look for to make some noise over the next 2 weeks here?
Well, first, I want to get into the broadcast team that they got going on. I know they're having some technical difficulties right now on their end, but I'm sure they'll get it figured out. They got 3 weeks. David Schildhouse is the guy in the middle between NASCAR driver Landon Castle and the NASCAR driver Parker Kligerman, and I've known David Schildhouse for about the last 15 years. He's a great dude. He does streaming full time now, and he's another guy that I met through sim racing over the years. So the guys that are putting on the Carnomaly, they're like, David's like a brother to me, and it's so
That's
great
cool.
what he and Landon and Parker, Chris, who's the producer, what they've all been able to do, the whole team behind it, Josh, who's the race admin, everything that they've been able to put on, it's something that you want to take part in. They market it, they get sponsors behind it, they make people want to sign up. And when I asked earlier today how many people, what's the final number, they're still counting, they're still trying to get it right, but it's approximately 380 people, which is a very large number when it comes to sim racing events. Like when it's like an official iRacing event, you'll get thousands of people because you could just click sign up and go. But they got 380 people to sign up through their sign-up page, pay the entry fee of $25, and get this schedule together to be a part of this event. And the names that are a part of this, it's not only just average racers like me that can show up. You've got Dale Jr., like we talked about before. Justin Allgaier's in preliminary number 2 later today. Garrett Smithley's going to be racing, I believe, in preliminary 4. He got knocked back to. You've got Kyle Busch, who's in preliminary 3 with me. You've got other NASCAR drivers such as Anthony Alfredo. I believe Connor Daly from IndyCar is involved in this in some way or fashion. So you really got that star power that they've got in here. Not only that, but you've also got the professional eNASCAR drivers that are involved as well, such as Michael Guest, Derek Justice. Those guys are in the Coke Series. Nick Ottinger, who won the championship last year in the Coke Series.
And those are guys that are like the official, like RCR, RPA. They all have a driver. Those are the names that you're referring to there, right?
Yeah, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series.
Yes.
Those are the guys that are on the official teams that race on Tuesday nights, and they're going, for like a $300,000 payday. Nick Ottinger drives for William Byron. Derek Justice drives for JTG Doherty.
Yep.
Michael Guest is on a team with Jim Beaver, who's big in the off-road and the world over there. But he owns a team in eNASCAR. You got, they've got different teams teams in there that are like a mix between NASCAR team ownerships, like you got the William Byron and the Austin Dillons who own teams in there, but you also got like some professional esport teams that have joined in, like Space Station and XSET, and in years past they used to have Renegades and G2. So you've got like a healthy mix between real NASCAR teams and the esports world. But like I was saying, you've got this whole mix in this 380 driver lineup of people that have signed up for this event, and it's incredible to see, because last year in the Firecracker when they held this event, there were Denny Hamlin, he was in it, Kyle Busch, he was in it, and they didn't make it into the main event. They're professional racers. Yeah, they're professional racers. They didn't make it in. Only William Byron and Dale Jr., by the luck of somebody else dropping out, was able to make it in.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it's incredible for sure.
All right, man. We've got the feature number 1 that just took the green flag here. Real quick, and we'll wrap it up here. Give everyone the quick rundown of the format of the Carnomaly 500 as the 3-week series. Talk about real quick the field, how it got set, the race structure, and all that.
They're going to take the 380 drivers that have signed up, and between tonight and tomorrow night, they're going to whittle that down to 88 drivers. And how they're going to do that is through 8 preliminary races. They've got right now 30 people on, or 29 people, but it should be 30 people on the track. They're going to race in this 40-lap feature, and that's going to be all night. They're going to do that in preliminaries 1 through 4 tonight, and preliminaries 5 through 8 tomorrow. And the top 11 finishers in every feature are going to move on to next week, when they're going to have qualifying. And then from qualifying, they're going to be able to set up their duels. They're going to have dual races. From there, it gets a little bit muddy because I haven't read that far into it. But from the duels, they're going to be able to set their final 43 car lineup, which is going to be the Carnomaly 500, which is in 2 weeks from now.
That's awesome. I love it. Justin, man, thank you so much for taking some time. Maybe we'll get you back on over the next couple weeks here with some of the bonus shows that the Lap Traffic podcast is doing for the Carnomaly 500. Justin, tell everybody where they can follow you at on social media.
I'm on Twitter mainly. You can follow me at my name, at Justin Malillo. I'm also on Instagram. I don't post there much, but I'm at Punk with 2Ks 242. And you can follow my work over at frontstretch.com and at theracingexperts.com as well.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. It was great to talk with you, Lap Traffic Nation. Justin from Front Stretch. Catch him out there on Twitter, following iRacing and all that good stuff. Justin, we'll catch you soon, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation, great to talk to Justin there, get the broadcast media side of things as far as coverage is concerned with the Carnomaly 500. All right, let's get to the feature, if you will, for this extra bonus show tonight. Let's hear from some of these guys, some of these racers that have partook in nights 1 and 2 of the Carnomaly 500. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, I am joined in the Lap Traffic Podcast Media Center and Discord for the Carnomaly 500 by Cole Freilich. He's one of the drivers in the Carnomaly 500. Cole, what's going on, man? How are you?
Pretty good. Getting ready to go prelim 3 here. Hopefully put on a good show for everybody.
Awesome, man. Listen, how long you been iRacing?
I have been on iRacing for about, I believe it's been 8 years now. I started in 2013.
Okay, so is this like your paying gig? Is this a hobby gig? Is this supplemental? What's the iRacing experience level for you there?
Right now, I'm starting to get into a little bit of pay racing, but mainly it's just been a hobby of mine over the years, and I've just enjoyed doing it since my teenage years. So
that's awesome, man. You've been doing it since 2013. What's like the highest race you've raced in? The highest, the highest caliper race you've won? What's some of your claims to fame?
Some of my claims to fame, a buddy of mine, Racing Nation TV, he hosted a big event with Oliver Askew and a few Road to Indy guys last year. I ended up winning that race. That was I think that was called the Save the Freedom 100, because we were trying to get the Freedom 100 back for some reason. But
awesome.
I also won the C main for the FTF 500 most recently. So that was a big event to be a part of. It made it to the Tiny Techs there and won a bit of money. So that was honestly one of my bigger accomplishments because I didn't even think I'd make it out of the D main, and I somehow made it to the B main.
That's awesome. Any sponsors?
Yeah, right now we're sponsored by the Rain Race podcast. They talk about a lot of sports car racing and stuff. And then Racing Nation TV, that's my main sponsor. That's Kyle Cuthbertson's YouTube channel. He covers dirt track, NASCAR, IMSA, all kinds of stuff on there.
Very cool. Very cool. So did you race the Firecracker last year or this past summer when Landon and Parker put that together?
Unfortunately, no, I didn't get to. I was a little tight on money at the time, so I couldn't really enter. But saw this one was firing up, so I figured this would be the best chance I had.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, tell the followers where they can follow, or tell the listeners where they can follow you at.
You can follow me on Twitch. That's Slothy Racing. You can follow me on Twitter, ColeFrelick78. I think my Instagram's the exact same. YouTube channel is Slothy Racing. That might be firing up again soon. And then my esports team, CFM Esports, is also on Twitter.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, man, listen, good luck here in a few minutes as you guys go green, and maybe we'll be talking to you next week, too.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, man. All right, let's see. I think we got a few more people here in the Lap Traffic Podcast Media Center room here. Ross Banfield. What's up, Ross? How's it going?
It's going good, man. Just finished the, I guess you could say, the elimination round. It was definitely some ups and downs.
Yeah, how'd we do?
Pretty good. I think it's the top 11 make it, so I believe I just barely eked it out.
Awesome, man. Congratulations. That's so cool. Is this your first time in an event with Landon and Parker in their E-Racer series?
Yeah, it's my first time. It's been good so far.
Very cool. I know we had some audio issues here on Twitch. I don't know if you were able to notice that or not, but hopefully they're able to get that going. How long have you been doing the iRacing stuff, if you will? Because I know there's so many different versions of it, whether it's on iRacing and different types of sim racing and all that kind of stuff. How long have you been doing this?
Man, going way back, probably at least 12 years. Started with a Gran Turismo and then kind of worked my way up to here. Been doing iRacing for like the last 8.
That's very cool. All right, so do you have like a landing castle type sim, or you just got a little steering wheel attached to a desk? Like, because there's so many in between levels there. What type of equipment are you using?
So it slowly creeps up on you. It's just
Right.
it's an expensive hobby. It started out with, the G25 on the desk, then VR, and then a sim racing cockpit, then eventually like Hoisenveld and a Simucube. So definitely starts racking up pretty quick.
I believe that, man. So you're done racing for tonight? You're going to be in next week, right?
Yeah, I'm done for tonight. So
Awesome.
I'm just going to sit back and watch the rest of it.
Awesome. Any sponsors on the car?
No, not really. Besides my teammates over at UDocs, but this is kind of an independent event for me. So just shout out to them, and I'll be hanging back watching you guys.
Awesome. Where can everybody follow you on social media?
Oh, just iRacing for now. I really don't have anything going on. I kind of just keep it on the down low.
Fair enough. I get that, man. Hey, listen, good luck next week, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week.
Thanks.
Awesome, man. Let's see. We've got Jason Julian in the podcast room. What's up, Jason?
Sorry, it was muted.
Oh, there we go. What's up, man? How are you?
No, not much. Just checking in, seeing where my fellow competitors were at.
Yeah, man. How's it going? When are you up, man? I
actually already raced, and I did not fare well.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear about that. That's a bummer. There was all right. You didn't fare well. Were you involved in one of the wrecks?
I dodged the first one and I dodged the second one, but dodged it by going down into the infield. And when I did, just lost control or lost traction trying to save it, and just came right back up on the track and went into the wall.
Oh.
So I went 2 laps down, and there's really nothing you can do after that.
No, you're officially lap traffic at that point in time, and nobody wants to hear that. Hey,
so I was the stay out of the way.
Stay out, right. Hey, listen, let me ask you this. All right, because I'm new to the iRacing type stuff, and I know a lot of the listeners are, and hopefully we gain some new listeners that are a little bit more familiar with it. But talk to me about cautions in iRacing or in this event particularly, because just because there's a wreck does not mean the caution flag's coming out. How does that work?
So, by my understanding, I guess it was from the admins that put the race on. Landon Parker, Shieldhouse, all those guys, Mendoza. They're the ones that control the caution. So that wasn't controlled by iRacing.
Okay.
So usually by iRacing is that if you're on the track in a car, I believe is a certain, if it's skewed a certain degree sideways, that'll trigger a caution. Or if there's, someone stopped on the apron. But for these races, it was up to the organizers.
Okay, so it's for the most part, it's a technicality in terms of when it may come out, not just somebody deciding whether or not let's push a button like in the race, so to speak, in the real world.
Correct. Yeah, that was the thing that, I'm sure it kind of irritated a few people, and they said at the beginning, there's probably going to be 2 cautions early on, but late in the race, because they've got a time restriction as well.
Yes. I was
So
aware
if you
of
have
that.
too many cautions is going to go way past that, so they couldn't do that.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for giving us the 411 on that. Where can everybody follow you on social media?
Nowhere really. I'm not really a social media guy.
All right. Well, listen, go follow Jason Julian the next time he's on iRacing somewhere out there, man. Hey, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to hop onto the show. It'll get posted on Friday on the laptrafficpodcast.com, iTunes, and all that good stuff, man. Hope you check it out. And good luck down the road, man.
Absolutely. Definitely check it out. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. I think we got one more hanging out in the room. It's I'm going to see if I get his name right. Is it Colin Farley?
Callum, pretty close.
Callum, what's going on, man? How are you?
Pretty good. Feeling pretty good.
Awesome. Did we just race or are we about to race?
We just raced and we got the final transfer spot.
Oh man, they were going nuts over you, man. That's awesome.
Oh, really? I'm going to have to go back and watch the Twitch stream because I was a little busy at the moment.
I could understand that. That's so cool, man. All right, man. That's awesome. Talk about your race, man. How'd it go for you?
It went pretty good at the start. I started, I think, in 5th. I got 2nd place in my heat race. Going pretty well. I was able to save my tires. I think I was practicing maybe a little bit more than the other competitors. I knew to save my tires. I was moving up. Got involved in the first wreck. Got through that. And then I got involved in the last caution. And so I think I started about 8 laps to go. I started dead last, shotgun in the field, and I was able to get through it. I survived that last wreck without the caution, and at that point, I think I was in 13th and about 3 seconds back. I was able to barely hold on to the draft and just, hunker down, and then I passed him, I think, out of the last corner. Is that correct?
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it was definitely the last corner. That's so cool. Speaking of tires, Landon and Parker were talking about it when I was talking to them about, setting up a format and all this kind of stuff, that tires were going to matter. Talk about tires mattering, because we don't normally, in real world racing, we're not talking about tires mattering at Daytona.
With these cars, the way they're set up without the restrictor plates, if you really want to go for it, you can do maybe 3 laps full throttle, and after that, these tires they completely fall off of a cliff. I mean, by that last 2 or 3 laps, I was letting off maybe 200-300 feet going into the corner, and it was maybe half throttle all the way into 3/4 way through the corner, just playing with it. And the way these cars kind of dive into the corner, it's you're already going opposite steering into the corner, and you're just kind of holding on. It's almost like dirt racing, honestly.
That's crazy. Any sponsors on the car?
Nope. Totally open to sponsorship. Anyone listening to the podcast?
Well, hey, hit me up, man. Let's put something together. You're the first transfer car in. This is my first time doing it. Hit me up on Twitter at LapTrafficPC, or message me in Discord here, and I want to get on the car next week for you, man.
Awesome. I like it.
Where can everybody follow you on social media?
I don't really have social media set up. Considering though that I qualified for this event, I'm probably going to set up a Twitch channel. I just got a new PC over the Christmas season, ready to really put it to the test, kind of get out there a little bit more. Awesome.
Well, hit me up on Discord. Let's get something set up for next week. Good luck, and look forward to talking to you soon, man.
Awesome. Thanks.
Absolutely. We'll see you. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, I am back with a couple more of the drivers from the Carnomaly 500. I've got Brian, and Brian, I apologize. I'm not even going to try to botch your last name because that's what it would be. What's going on, man? How are you?
Well, it's going all right. First off, it's Shabelsky. That's how you pronounce it. Good old Polish
That's
name.
not what I would have come up with. So.
You just make the Z and H sound, and you're good to go.
What's going on, man?
Well, got done with the. I'm actually got another window of the prelim race too. Unfortunately, didn't make it. Just barely didn't make it. I got tangled up in a incident that was not of my doing. Unfortunately, one of those situations. You just really can't do much about it. Can't really blame anyone. It just happens, especially at these super speedway tracks.
Sure, man.
But,
it's product of Daytona, right? Whether we're in real life or on iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't seem to matter if it's oval or road. It seems to be there's a lot of crashes all over the place at Daytona. Just nature of the beast. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, listen, how long you been iRacing?
About 4 years now. I started just at the end of 2017, so about 4 years.
Okay. Is it the paying gig? Is it a hobby? Is it in between? How extreme is your iRacing career?
It's a hobby. I've started doing a lot more. I've started working a lot more on my oval. I've been trying to improve on that. I've raced road pretty much since the get-go as well. So roadside, I've had a little more success on just in leagues and hosted stuff. Won a couple of class championships and things like that. So I'd kind of like to get up there with oval as well. So I figured, just throw yourself out there, throw yourself in the deep end a couple times, see if you can learn some things and figure out how to get better.
I mean, for $25 to have the possibility to iRace against, Kyle Busch, I mean, that's a cool enough story in itself. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of luck of the draw on those kind of things. You don't always know who you're going to go up against. And I feel like there's kind of a little bit of excitement with that as well, because you don't know who you're going to go up against. And you also don't know who you're going to go up against. So being in a prelims here with Isaac Gann and Nick Ottinger, Justin Allgaier, it's not every day you get to say that, so it's pretty cool.
Absolutely, I love it, man. That's so cool. Any sponsors on the car?
No, just my Twitch channel.
Just Twitch?
For the most part. I got a couple of folks I work with, usually with Take This. They're a mental health nonprofit, works in the gaming world, gaming industry. So I've been happy to work with them for the last 4 years, and also just recently started working with a animal welfare nonprofit, Pause Your Game. So shout out to both of them.
Very cool. That's awesome. When's your next event?
As far as on iRacing, I'm probably after I'm done with this, I'm going to be going to practice for a Lamborghini and prototype series league that is running out tomorrow night, and then I usually stream Mondays, Thursdays, and whenever I have the fancy to. So I've got like 3 or 4 leagues going on right now that I'm bouncing back and forth between doing practice and all that. Spec MX5, Scar Super Trofeo and Prototype Challenge, ASRC. Road and oval series, so I'm usually keeping myself pretty busy.
Pretty cool. That's awesome, man. Where can everybody follow you on Twitch or Twitter? What are some social media handles for you?
On Twitter, I'm at Neon Tiger LP. Twitch, I'm at. If you've seen my beautiful car, it is. I did an Alan Kulwicki kind of inspired tribute with my Twitch channel on it. So it's twitch.tv/Neon Tiger, and I'll probably be running that car or that paint scheme on my different cars going forward, because I worked on it so much, and I spent so much time on it and I love it, and I'm like, yeah, this is probably like my throwback I'm going to use from now on.
That's awesome. Hey, listen, do me a favor, message me your Twitter handle, because I definitely want to make sure I can tag you on social media when I post this, and good luck in the iRacing career, man.
Not a problem. Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Take care, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation. That was Brian. Next up, Jason Skeen. Jason, what's going on, man? How are you?
Not much. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, man, I'm loving life, man. This is something new for me, a new venture. I'm glad I was able to partner up with Parker and Landon and to be the official podcast of the Carnomaly 500. It's very cool. Normally, I record a show, and it's, dedicated time slot, and I'm just chilling in the man cave watching some basketball and talking to some iRacers. I love it, man.
Well, great. Yeah, this is a pretty good event they put together. I did the or tried to do the Firecracker 400 with them last year, and those were pretty tough cars to handle around Daytona. And it's the same kind of story this year with the old COT with the no plate. They're a handful. And it's a lot of fun.
They look like a handful. First off, how'd you do last year in the Firecracker?
I didn't really do too well at either one of these, to be honest. I'm trying to remember where I placed out, but I mean, it's more fun for me than anything. I've kind of been doing this. I started in 2019, but just doing the Dinner with Racers League. Big fan of those guys, and they did like a little mini league, and did a few events with them, and then I really, other than their events, I hadn't done anything until last year. It may have been the Firecracker was the first thing that I'd done. So, yeah,
that's cool. How did you run your prelim already?
Yeah, it finished up, and it was just kind of one thing after another. So ran the heat and just barely missed the cut in the heat. So went to last year's qualifier and was actually doing pretty decent. And then there was some big wreck on the backstretch, and I checked up and had it missed. And then somebody behind me, I guess, didn't see it happen, and I got rear-ended and got pushed back to 21st, made it back to 16th, but didn't make it back up to 10th, which was the cut. So I'm officially done, but I feel like I got my $25 worth. So I think that's the main thing.
That's how I feel like on a golf course sometime. It's like, if I'm playing a nice course, it's, like a, $50, $75, round fee. And it's like, all right, well, if I'm going to spend that much, I don't care if I hack it, because I want to see every tree that I possibly can, man. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I used to race street stock, and, like in real life, and you were dropping hundreds of dollars just to show up, and you'd run 20 laps or something like that, and if you got something tore up, then you had a week worth of fixing a car. This, man, if you tear one up, you just hit the button and you got another one. So $25 is nothing. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's so cool, man. Listen, where can everybody follow you on social media?
So I'm on Twitter. It's at Skeejas, so at SKEJAS. I'm out there, post a lot of stupid videos, and that's kind of the main place to track me down. I
love it, man. Well, make sure you check out the show that I post Friday. We'll get you on there for sure. And good luck in the iRacing career there, man.
All right. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me in the Lap Traffic Podcast Media Center of the E-Racing Carnomaly 500, it is Philip Bubb. Philip, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm awesome, man. Thanks for hopping in here for a minute to talk about your race. How'd we do tonight?
I mean, if I was looking going in, I'd say it was a success. But once I got in there, crashed out in the heat, and then in the consi, I missed a wreck, but 12th and just barely missed out trying to make it up to 10th.
Oh man, what a bummer. The level of competition is intense, man. I did not realize what it was going to be, and I'm impressed sitting here talking to you guys, watching on Twitch while doing it. I mean, I feel like I'm watching a real life race, which is awesome from a fan perspective. So I can only imagine what it was like sitting there in the cockpit of the sim race and going through that. Talk a little bit about your iRacing career. Is it a hobby? Is it a paying gig? What's it like for you?
Well, I've only started about 4 or 5 months ago, just because of the pandemic.
Sure.
Having more free time, not traveling. I put that money into a rig and a PC, and wanted to try iRacing, so I did that, and I've been learning ever since then. I learn every day. Did the practice races here, and you just pick up things every time you race, every lap pool.
That's awesome. So, like, when you're running in like you're outside of the Carnomaly 500, are you getting as in depth as you're doing, setups with tire pressures, wedge adjustments, all that kind of stuff, or are you running more kind of, here's what it is, go run it kind of thing? How in depth are you getting in your races?
For this, I really had no indication of. I wasn't expecting to make it next week. My goal was to the prelim main tonight, which that fell just short. But my focus was on just I wanted to practice. I wanted to get used to the car, get used to being around everyone, and just make sure I don't embarrass myself.
Sure.
And then if I were to get up to the prelim main qualifier for there, and that. After that, the focus would then be on just putting in laps, finding different things setup-wise to be competitive.
That's awesome. So it was well worth the $25 learning experience then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. Hey, where can everybody follow you on social media?
I am on Twitter at Philip Bupp. I had the comeback. I'm a editor, writer for the Comeback, Awful Announcing. Basically cover sports media. So they're on my card. It's a little bit of a thanks to a night off of work to try this out.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for hopping in here for a few minutes. Good luck down the road, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Absolutely. You too, man. Thanks. Next up, we got Nicholas Morse on the line. Nicholas, what's going on, man? How are you?
Man, I'm freaking stoked, baby. I made the Final 88.
Hell yeah, brother. That's what I'm talking about, man. You're racing next week. Oh, yeah. See, that's the kind of passion and enthusiasm I love, man. That's great. I love it. Oh, talk about the race, man.
I was just riding there. Corey's a former pro. I'm former pro. Like, everyone in the top 11 was Gucci. And so I was just sitting there chilling, and he turned Butler right in front of me and put me in the fence. And I was like, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me. So I had to use my fast repair super early. And I just told myself, don't compound the mistakes. One spot at a time, get to where you can catch the lead draft and then see if you can make something happen. And Butler got loose like with 4 or 5 laps to go in front of me, and I just sent it. I don't even think I went below the yellow, and that was what I needed to get out of that last row and come home P9. So, oh man, that was hard, and so glad I made the semis. That's a big accomplishment.
That's so cool. Oh, that's awesome, man. So, talk about your iRacing career. Like, how in depth is it? Is this, you getting a paycheck? Is it a hobby? How involved are you in this stuff?
Oh, super. Been around since 2013. I'm 34. I'm the old man on the service. So, went to Coke in 2013. I've made pro 8 times. This is what I do, right? This is my discipline on esports, and we're owned by Muka Esports, which is the Canadian esports team. Somewhere in $4 or $5 million a year in revenue, and they just bought us in August to see what eNASCAR is all about. So, love it. And I had a lot of pressure to make the semis. That was the minimum, and I made it. So I'm super stoked, and that was a really good field, really tough racing. It was awesome.
That's so cool, man. So, all right. So, Lap Traffic Nation, this just goes to show you, I covered the e-racing for the podcast back during the pandemic when they did their stuff with Fox and on NASCAR. And, I've had people on tonight that, are getting practices basically and using this as a practice experience. And you, man, you are involved. I mean, you've got sponsors, commitments, and all that kind of stuff. That is incredible. Just the different level of talent that's out there. Does that make it difficult for you knowing you've got some novice guys out there versus guys like you that have been around it for quite some time?
It's super difficult, and for example, in my prelim, I got to draft with Nick, freaking world champ, reigning world champ. I drafted with him the entire time, and I've known Nick for about 10 years. So I was like, that's awesome. But then when you get in a field like that, the disparity in iRating where I'm 6,000, 7,000, I always range between there depending on how much I race at midnight and when I race when I'm sober. And then in the back of the field, you have guys who are like 2,000 iRating. And so that is more difficult to me when you're coming through a field than racing against all guys who are equivalent iRating.
Sure.
So honestly, everyone did a fantastic job. Everyone in that race in the heat main held their cars together. It was a very good job by everyone.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, I am definitely looking forward to talking to you next week. Where can everybody follow you at on social media?
You can check me out at NMCO18 on Twitter, and you can follow our parent company, Parabellum Esports, PBLM Esports, on Twitter. And I will be here next week. And I'm super excited to race. So thank you for having us in here.
Absolutely. Hey, man, do me a favor. Send me a message on Discord with those Twitter handles and all that stuff. Will you, please?
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Thanks. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, let's see. I hope I'm going in order here. We got Nick Ottinger on the line. What's up, Nick? How's it going, man?
Doing good, man. Came home with a win. Pretty happy to transfer through. So
yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's awesome, man. How was the race from your perspective?
It was pretty tame. I mean, you had a lot of aggressive, behind. I would say the transfer spot to be aggressive to get to that point, but luckily we were in a good starting spot. Pretty much just riding until the last couple laps, just to kind of save our tires, keep our entry loads as consistent as possible, and just not put ourselves in a bad spot. So, luckily with our Logitech G machine, happy they're able to do this race with me. Happy we're able to get to the top 11 and transfer to the qualifying stages to, maybe make the big show.
All right. So talk about the, have you done this type of racing before where it's an elimination week by week type of thing? Do you know the difference in terms of the competition this week to what you're going to have next week?
I've never really had an experience quite like what E-Racer and the Carnomaly 500 brings, because usually I'm on the other side of kind of crew chief and spotting for that. Last year when, these guys put the deal together for the Firecracker 400, I was pretty much crew chief and spotting for William Byron, and, it's refreshing to finally be able to do some, just racing myself. And, these guys put a heck of a event on, and, finally just really excited to be part of it.
That's cool, man. All right, so you got to break this one down for me. So I'm baffled by the level of technology and the dedication that you guys put into this as I mean, people get baffled by me when I say that I do this podcast as a hobby, and a lot of people don't believe that. And I wish I got paid to do it. I don't. I just put my heart and soul into it, which is what I imagine you do for your iRacing career. Now, you just said you are a spotter and a crew chief for this. So how does that work from an iRacing perspective to be a spotter for somebody? That's taking it to a whole different level, man.
Yeah, usually I'm just, having to kind of get used to, for 9 years I had one crew chief and spotter for, my Coke Series career. And, luckily we finally closed with a championship last year with those guys. And this year we're bringing on, a new crew chief and a new spotter. I had a great spotter tonight, Brandon Wilkinson, who has real world experience, in ARCA and, even Xfinity series and stuff like that. So it's, just having the knowledge behind it, and, just guys you really trust that you can just go out there, be yourself, and just focus on what you need to focus on is so key. And, I kind of, next week's going to be a tall task. I mean, we're going to have open setup and going to have to qualify to put ourselves into the show. So I'm kind of excited for it. Excited to, kind of tackle, Homestead for our next Coke Series race. Been doing a lot of testing on that as well. And, it's going to be hopefully another 2021 is going to be a good year for us.
Absolutely. I love that, man. All right. I got one more question about the spotter thing, because this has perked my interest. So when you have a spotter, when you're running a race and racing yourself, are they able to just see your car and the cars around you, or to be able to guide you through it? Or are they seeing the entire field as we are from a Twitch viewership perspective?
It's kind of how they set their camera angles up virtually. So,
okay.
I mean, if you're Wilkinson, he can, if he was even at the Daytona International Speedway, legitimately, he would, be on the spotter stand, and he could spot exactly in that same spot and just see all the cars around you. And, it's kind of whatever camera angle the spotter wants to use to, help us drive the best way possible. So, Wilkinson's a phenomenal spotter. It's a big reason we got him, on our crew for the Coke Series this year. And, we got our first win together right here, even though it was a preliminary night. But, always to build that chemistry and stuff like that with your spotters, it goes leaps and bounds to, future races.
That's incredible, man. Where can everybody follow you at on social media?
I'm pretty active on Twitter nowadays, and I'm going to be getting into soon. So on Twitter, you just follow me at Nick Ottinger. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can find it.
That's awesome, man.
Ain't nothing like that. And Twitch, it's pretty much the same thing. So within the next month, I'll be streaming, and should be a good experience. Being able to be a content creator in that aspect and do what I love, and that's sim race.
That's awesome, man. Well, good luck to you next week, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week as well, man.
Yes, sir. You have a good night, man.
Thanks, man. You too. We'll talk to you later. See ya. All right. Next up, we got Logan Helton. Logan, what's going on, man? How are you?
Not much. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm awesome. I'm having a blast watching some Carnomaly 500 prelim races and chatting with you guys. How was your race tonight, man?
Well, we brought it home 6th place in the prelim 2 behind a bunch of talented drivers such as Nick and other guys like, I can't believe I just forgot his name. Now I feel stupid, but a lot of talented guys up there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was good.
So you're moving on to next week?
Yes, sir, I am to qualifying.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. How long you been iRacing?
I just finished my 2nd year on iRacing last Christmas and coming to complete the 3rd year this Christmas.
That's awesome. Were you able to run the firecracker event that these guys put on last summer?
No, sir. I was kind of new to those special events and didn't want to ruin my reputation at all by wrecking everybody in that race yet. So I thought I'd put in some more practice before I start doing any special events. And the Podium 500 a couple weeks ago was my first event.
That's awesome. How'd you do there?
Well, in all our heat races and duels, we finished 1st in our heat race, 2nd in our duel, and 3rd in the race.
That's very cool, man. That's awesome. I'm envious, man. I need to get into this. I talked about it on the show back in the spring when Fox and NASCAR were doing this and doing this for the next 3 weeks with Landon and Parker and all that. Man, it's going to be hard not to go and get me a rig set up because this is definitely addicting. That's I can only imagine how addicting this can be. Many hours could get lost, I bet.
Yeah, I spend a lot of my time on iRacing whenever I'm not in school and doing other things, and it's definitely a lot of fun. I've learned a lot over the 2 years I've been on iRacing, and some of the most fun I've ever had, and a lot of good people I've met on iRacing, and it's really helped me in real life too with like talking to people as well.
That's awesome. You got any sponsors on the car?
Well, I'd like to thank Nexus Esports for helping me tonight. Also, I'd like to thank Splash and Go Graphics for the cars they make me. LKH Racing, my YouTube, and that's pretty much all my sponsors.
That's awesome, man. Where can everybody follow you on social media?
They can follow me at Twitch at hold on, I gotta look at it. It's L Helton _63 on Twitter. And then my Facebook page for my racing is LKH Racing number 63 team.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, listen, good luck next week, and I bet we'll be talking to you next week as well, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep, take care. We'll see you. All right, next up, joining in the Lap Traffic podcast media room here for the Carnomaly 500, it is AJ Henderson. AJ, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, man. How you doing? Transferred in.
Excellent. Yes, that's what I like to hear. We're getting some more transfer spots in. That's awesome. How was your race tonight, man?
Pretty good. I was able to stay at the front in my heat and stay at the front during the feature, so things worked out pretty well. Everybody was working with each other up there, so it's pretty great.
That's awesome. So talk about your iRacing career a little bit. You know, how you got started and from an event perspective, how big was this for you?
I got on iRacing in 2018. That's when I, got out of school and got a job that I was able to afford to get a computer that could run iRacing. I was wanting to get in since like 2012, but once I got out of high school, got a job, I was able to get a PC and everything. And during last year, during the shutdown with COVID, I found Landon streaming and Parker streaming and a couple other real life drivers, and I was able to make the main event of the first two e-racer events. The Landon Castle qualifying challenge last year at Darlington and the Firecracker 400 last year. So far this event is going to be way more competitive than those two, and it's going to be insane, especially the main race.
Well, yeah, I mean, almost 400 drivers that are going to be eliminated through Wednesday, Thursday over 2 weeks, and then the final race the third week. I mean, I was talking to some guys earlier, and I just said, you never know. You could be racing against, Justin Allgaier or Kyle Busch in your race, man. How crazy would that be to race against some of those guys in a couple weeks?
That'd be awesome. Those real life drivers, they. Some of them, it takes them a little bit of time to get used to iRacing, but once they get used to it, they're up there with everybody else. And it's definitely pretty cool to be able to race with those guys and have a chance to talk to them here and there, pick apart their mind and see what they know about real life racing that you can kind of try to bring into sim racing to help you out. So, I'm hoping we see some real life drivers transfer in. That'll be awesome.
That's awesome, man. Any sponsors on the car?
Nope, no sponsors or anything. We'll see for the duels next week. I might be able to work on something. If not, then we'll see what happens.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, hit me up. Maybe we can put something together. Send me a message on Discord. Where can everybody follow you on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter at AJ the Henderson.
Awesome,
and,
man.
That's about it.
Awesome. Hey, listen, like I said, hit me up. Good luck next week, and I hope we're talking next week as well.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Yeah, take care. We'll see you.
I just want to say, thanks for you guys hopping on board. It's really cool to be able to have like an official podcast for this. So I'm really looking forward to listening to these episodes.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, this one will get posted Friday. It was definitely a unique experience. It's new for me. I'll be honest. I'm not going to hide the fact that, this is my first venture into the iRacing coverage, so to speak. And tonight's been a blast. I cannot wait for the rest of the next 3 weeks, man. So I'm really looking forward to it. And like I said, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Awesome, man. Well, we're glad to have you. Have a good one.
Thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon. All right, Lap Traffic Nation. I am joined in the Lap Traffic Media Center room in Discord for the E-Racer Series, the Carnomaly 500. And I've got, let's see here. I've got Travis Brown on the line. Travis, what's going on, man? How are you?
How we doing?
Oh, man, I'm awesome. I'm having a blast with this tonight. I did not think I was going to have this much fun. And that's not to say I didn't think I wasn't going to have fun, but I'm glad that the I've exceeded the bar of what I thought I was going to have. So that's awesome. How'd you do tonight, man?
Honestly, I'm not really, I don't do much racing on here anymore. I do more broadcast style stuff over on my Twitch, and I like to come out for these big events, especially this one. I love what E-Racer has going and what Josh, Parker, and Landon have doing, and what David and Landon and Parker can do with the broadcast. So decided to sign up. We went out there, did decent in our heat race, and then in the end, sounds like I'm just making excuses. We didn't transfer. We came up 2 spots short. I was proud of my effort. I was right there. There were a lot of really good people in my prelim, and a lot of good people who didn't transfer. So coming home 14th or 13th, actually missed it by 2 spots. So can't be too disappointed. I didn't really even expect to make it to my prelim. And just there at the end, it was all hell breaking loose and bouncing off each other and getting sideways. And
you're in the race with Kyle Busch, who didn't advance. So when Kyle Busch doesn't advance, you can't feel too bad about yourself.
Well, unfortunately, I was in the one before him. I wish I could have been out there with him. But we still had Allgaier in ours, and he had a horrible race. He got run over multiple times out there. So I didn't wreck anybody. Nobody's mad at me. I tried the podium 500. I guess it's been about 2 or 3 weeks ago now. We made it into that one, but it was way more eventful. A lot of torn up stuff. This time I went out there and safely made it through. And unfortunately, we didn't make it. But I don't think I'd have made it further past the qualifying and the duels and all that, because this is a really, really stacked field. And I don't know. It was a lot of fun though, man.
Awesome.
It was. I had more fun than I thought I would.
Kind
of like what you're saying.
Sure.
Yeah, and I thought I'd go out there and I'd struggle. And those last few laps, we had about a 6-lap shootout. It felt like there at the end, and I saved for the first 3 laps of those 6 laps, and then those last 3 laps, I just let it all hang out. And I don't know how I didn't wreck. I was close a couple of times, but I don't know. It was a lot of fun. I had a hell of a time.
Listen, I've talked to numerous people that have said that the one few time that they keep their eyes closed on a race is going into turn one at MIS. So sometimes you just got to hold on tight, close your eyes, and hope like hell you make it through, man. So I don't know personally, but I mean, through the grapevine, I've heard people that have said that, man, that's just what you got to do sometimes. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So I guess you're enjoying watching this.
I'm having a blast, man. I'm sitting here talking to you guys and just so for me, you know, I do a lot of the I love the truck series. I cover the truck series pretty hard. This podcast is a hobby for me, but it's the 5th year and it's taken off. So I'm going to leave this content on there for any new listeners for this bonus show that have maybe followed on through the E-Racer series, the channel, or that have joined on through over the last couple days that have found out about me doing this. So yeah, it's all hobby for me, and it's just kind of blown up, and I'm excited that Landon and Parker put me and found me, and we were able to put a deal together for me being the official podcast of the Carnomaly 500. So no, this has just been a blast. I'm watching live the prelim 4th race here and chatting with you and having a grand old time tonight, man.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's been great. I've had so much fun. I know they've had a little trouble with the podcast getting it going, or not the podcast, the broadcast getting it going here. But man, they've put on quite the show.
It's been a lot of fun.
I'm really excited for some of these features that they've been talking about with the fantasy games and all that.
Absolutely, man. You got a social media? Where can anybody follow you at, man?
It's Moonhead on Twitter and Moonhead on Twitch. That's pretty much all I got. I'm too ugly for Instagram.
Me too. Fair enough, man. Hey, good luck in the iRacing career, man, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Hell yeah, man.
Take care. All right, next in the Lap Traffic podcast room, it's Scott Mayhew Jr. Scott, what's going on, man? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, guys. How are y'all?
Oh, man, I'm awesome. Having some fun watching you guys race and have a good time. How'd the race go tonight for you?
Oh, it was a great experience. I mean, I've only been iRacing for about 2 months, and so this was a great experience for me to sit here and have fun with.
That's so cool. I've lost count of the number of guys I've talked to tonight, and I got it again tomorrow. But the level of experience that out there. I mean, there's guys that started last week. You're a couple months, and there's guys that have been doing this for 10 years. What can you do to increase that? Is it just practice? Is it, what can you do to up your game to the next level?
A lot more practice, learning more about how to build the setups. I was hoping to make the main event, but just to be out there racing with these guys and being able to hang on for a little while, that was a great experience for me.
That's so cool. I mean, how you're out there racing against actual NASCAR drivers. Did you ever think in your life you'd be doing that?
Heck no, I did not. Not in the least.
Was that intimidating? You're like, oh shit! If I put Kyle Busch in the wall, I'm done. I'm dead.
Dude, there was a point during that race where we were 3 wide at 35 car had bumped the wall. I had went down a little bit. Kyle came to my inside, and the car got arrow loose. And all I could think about is, God, don't turn left, don't turn left, don't turn left. Because I did not want to take out Kyle Busch in the 51 car. But let me tell you.
Oh man, that's awesome. So what's next? What's next for you from an iRacing perspective?
I'm gonna try some of those, like the iRacing Pro League or the iRacing Coca-Cola Pro Series qualifiers that are coming up. So I was going to do a little bit of running on that.
That's awesome, man. Where can everybody follow you on social media?
They can find me on Twitter at Red Leg Racing, or they can find me on YouTube at Red Leg Racing PSN. And that's about all I'm on.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, man, good luck down the road, and maybe we'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
Yep. Take care. We'll see you. Well, Lap Traffic Nation, that is going to do it for night 1 of the prelims. Man, this has been so much fun. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect. This was an absolute blast. I cannot wait to do this all over again tomorrow night, talk to some more people. You guys aren't going to notice any time delay because, hey, I get to hit the stop button and get ready to go again. So here is some of the interviews from the Thursday night prelims with the drivers of the Carnomaly 500. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, I am joined. It's night 2, and the first of our prelim races is over, and I've got Andrew Player on the line. Andrew, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing okay. Actually, I got a fever tonight. I'm suffering from the side effects from my second COVID shot, but pretty good night, and I'm happy I got the New Hampshire State Police Fallen Troopers Memorial car into the next round.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, that's a great brand to have on that car. That sounds really cool. Man, that race, man, it was caution after caution. It sounded like some people were unhappy with how things were going. What was your take there?
Yeah, it was some rough driving, especially under the cautions. I know there's a big wreck under caution. My game plan was just to try and avoid the crashes. I got kind of lucky, I suppose, because I started dead last in the field and was able just to kind of drive through them. So the big plan was to avoid the wrecks, and I managed to do that. So I'm pretty happy with that.
That's awesome. Talk about your iRacing career a little bit. You know, is this new to you? Have you been doing this for a minute?
I stem back from the days of NASCAR racing by Papyrus. I got my start in '94 racing on that. I'm an old timer, so NASCAR 2003, and I've been doing iRacing for quite a while as well, but just kind of taking a more active role in it the last couple of years.
That's awesome, man. Any new sponsors? You're going to have these same guys on next week for the second round of the Carnomaly 500.
No, I'm definitely going to be running the New Hampshire State Police Fallen Troopers Memorial car. I'm a trooper up here in New Hampshire, and
well, thank you for your service, man.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes.
This is it's near and dear to my heart, as well as every trooper up here, to build a permanent memorial for our fallen troopers, and trying to raise awareness of that and hopefully raise a little bit of funds for it.
I absolutely love that, man. Well, listen, hey, good luck next week. Do you got any social media I can tag you in?
Absolutely. If you want to tag NHSP Fallen, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, that's where we're at.
That's awesome, man. Thanks so much. Good luck next week, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week as well.
Thank you. Hope so. Appreciate it. Thank you much.
No problem. Lap Traffic Nation, we're going to keep them rolling tonight, man. There's a bunch of people in the waiting room. Like I said, prelim 1 of night 2 just ended. I've got James Gibson on the line. James, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. A little better in the last 15 minutes than I was before. It was a pretty nerve-wracking race, but I can't believe I won it. That was a good time.
That's so cool, man. Congrats on the win. Man, that was it looked, was it Putes that was out there for most of that race? And that thing was a little bit of a cluster bleep. Talk about your thoughts there. There was definitely some chatter on whether caution should have or should not have been called out there. What'd you think?
I don't really know what happened with that last yellow that people were talking about should or should not have been called. I really didn't see any of that, so I can't comment too much on that. Mostly, I just tried to play. Yeah, exactly. Mostly, I just tried to play the cautions to my advantage, and I think I did pretty good. Made some decent pit calls, which is rare for me. I don't make many of those. And just made my move on the final corner. I was trying to race clean, and we ended up winning the thing.
That's so cool, man. So talking to some of the guys last night, I mean, it gets pretty detailed out there. Like, do you got a crew chief? Do you got spotters? Like, how involved is your setup for this thing?
My setup's about as basic as it gets. I don't have crew chief, spotter, or nothing. I may have something now that I know I've made it through, so I'm really stoked about that. Might be able to get something going. I have Moonsport as my team, so there's a lot of guys on there. I'm sure they'll be able to help me out. And but yeah, for that race for tonight, I just running bone stock, as easy as it gets.
That's so cool, man. Congratulations. Listen, man, I know the numbers are going to be knocked down quite a bit from these 2 nights tonight into next week. And man, I hope we're talking next week for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Where can everybody follow you on social media?
James DG, spelled DEEGEE03 on Twitter, and that's really my only social media. I don't have much else.
That's awesome, man. I'll give you a tag when I post the show tomorrow. Good luck next week, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation. I am joined by the guy who led for most of this race. It's Kyle Putes. Kyle, what's going on, man? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Awesome, man. Listen, that was one interesting race. They just had James Gibson on who ended up getting the win. But, man, you were out there for quite some time. Give me your perspective on that, because there was definitely some interesting things going on behind you guys there.
Yeah, it was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things that I've done in a while. Just trying to keep up with everything that was going on in my mirror. And then with the way that the cautions fell, like they fell the entire race, they fell at such odd times where every single time that it fell, it was like a 50-50. Do we pit? Do we not pit? Because it was like right around that lap 3-4 mark, you can get away with not pitting and still being able to maintain decent track position. So I was working alongside with Blake McCandles, Casey Kerwin. We did had a few others in there as well that we were all working alongside of, just knowing that we're all very good racers. We know that if we all work together, we can all make it to the end. Unfortunately, Casey got caught up in that wreck on the final restart, and I felt bad about seeing that in my mirror. But that's just part of racing, unfortunately. But yeah, it was wild. It was definitely nerve wracking, like I said. After that last restart, when we had about that 7-car breakaway, we all kind of came over the radio, and it was like, okay guys, let's just ride. We're all in good positions. Like, we don't even have the cutoff in this group with us. Like, let's just hang there. Yeah, exactly. Like it could be a $3,000 mistake if one of us accidentally hooked each other, ran too hard. And then with about 2 laps to go, guys decided, okay, we're gonna try to make a charge. I know Blake Reynolds got to my inside there going into turn 1, and I had to hold off James a little bit there. And we all raced hard, but we all raced clean. I think we had 3 wide going into turn 1, and whoever was up on my right side ended up backing out of it, so we just make it through the other side. So it was definitely chaotic there those last couple laps. Sad that I wasn't able to lead the last one, but I kind of called it on Twitter a couple days prior, so I guess I lived up to that.
Well, that's cool that you got a team and that you guys joined as a team. We're going to split the pot there as the team from what it sounded like there. So that's very cool. I'm glad most of you guys are making it through, and look forward to maybe chatting with you next week if you're advancing to the finals there. Where can everybody follow you on Twitter?
Just look me up at Kyle Putz, PUTZ for the last name, and otherwise go check out my website, Kyle Putz Customs. My Twitter feed goes up there, launching some pretty cool t-shirts and stuff on there, so go give that a check out as well.
Awesome, man. Good luck next week. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Yep, take care. Lap Traffic Nation, I'm just baffled by the intensity and the amount of stuff that people put into this. It's so awesome. Like, I mean, these guys are conducting themselves like I was talking to a truck driver, an Xfinity, a Cup driver. Like, these guys, man, they got the lingo down. I mean, I am just baffled. I am blown away by everything that's been going on here over these last 2 nights here. It's so cool. I got one more from the prelim race 1 for the Thursday night races. Here it is Peyton Johnson. All right, Peyton, what's going on, man? How'd your race go tonight, man?
Well, got through the consolation race into the main and avoided most of the wrecks. Was the cause of one of them when I lost internet for a second, but worked my way up to 10th, had only a few laps to go and ran out of talent and got loose. And then I got back with a couple cars, got back in front of them, got the slightest little tap, spun around, and that was it for me. I think I finished 14th or 15th.
Oh, so close, man. What a bummer, man. How long have you been iRacing?
Right at about a year. I started last March. This was a quarantine hobby.
Man, I tell you, so many people have done that. I thought about joining and getting a rig, sim, whatever they call it. And man, after doing these last 2 nights, man, it might happen because it looks like a hell of a lot of fun. And man, I want to be racing in this thing. So.
Oh man, get you a setup and see if you like it. I have a feeling you will. That's what happened to me. I got a cheap wheel and a PC. I'd never been a PC gamer. And it turned in from that to a full-on rig, triple screens and everything. So be ready for it.
See, all right. So I'm gonna have to reach out to you because that's probably what will happen for me. So I need help with equipment and all that kind of stuff, man. That's awesome. Hey,
well, definitely.
Go ahead.
Oh, definitely hit me up. I'll help you any way I can.
Appreciate that so much, man. Where can everybody follow you on social media?
At PTN Ray on Instagram and at Peyton R Johnson on Twitter, and then Peyton Johnson on Facebook.
Awesome, man. Hey, thanks so much for hopping in and chatting for a few minutes. Good luck in the iRacing stuff, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. It's really cool.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man. Take care. All right, Lap Traffic Nation. I am joined by Shane Tierney right now. Shane, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm awesome, man. It's night 2 of the Carnomaly 500, week 1. I'm having a blast. This is the podcast for this event. It's been a lot of fun to get to talk to you guys. How'd you do tonight, man?
I could have done better, honestly. Didn't do too hot in my heat. It seemed to be a lot of wrong place, wrong time situation for me. didn't do all my heat, and then the consolation race just somebody came down, got in a wreck. I slowed up, and he pulled down in front of me, and I got launched into orbit. So,
dude, all right. So you were race 2, right?
Yes, 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch the first one at all?
I watched the first one with Casey Kerwin, and then my server opened and I went in.
Okay, fair enough, man. That thing was crazy. Race 2 was a little more tame. They seemed as the, and this is just so amazing to me, and how advanced the system is as it started to get to nighttime, so to speak, in iRacing world. Track temps are changing, and could you tell, is that playing a little bit of a role as to why race 1 was such a cluster bleep, and race 2 and what we got going on here right now with race 3 seems to be a little bit more tamed? Or is it just they saw what happened in race 1 and everyone's behaving themselves a little bit more?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I know when I was running practice, it was still pretty light out and the temp hadn't dropped yet. So the car didn't have a lot of grip. But I knew as it was getting colder and we went through the heats, I saw the cars getting more grip. But I also did notice, because I watched all 3 of the heats before mine, that everybody started running single file almost. It was kind of like the top 4 were like, we're in the top 4. We don't really have to worry about it. And then that 5th person was the one trying to, make sure that P6 didn't get in front of them to advance into the main feature. So definitely think that the temp made the later races a little bit more manageable, at least with the tire grip, because I'm telling you, man, after 4 laps you don't have a tire. It's just insane.
It's crazy. So like when I was talking with Landon and Parker earlier in the week before this thing got fired up, and they were telling me that, I was like, he goes 4 laps, that is all these tires are going to be good for. And I'm like, wait, I thought you said we're racing at Daytona, not Atlanta. And he goes, no, man, that's how we got it set up. And I'm like, well, that's freaking awesome. I mean, you're going to give tire wear at a super speedway. I'm like, I mean, that's just got a good time written all over it.
Yeah, and let me tell you, the guys that are going to the main event, the 500 miler, let me tell you, I don't know how they're going to run 500 miles on these tires.
Right?
They're going to be doing pit stops every 15 laps. Like it's going to be crazy, and I give it to him. I'm not like the best iRacer on the planet. I did this on a whim and honestly didn't realize the big names that were going to be in this event until I got my prelim sheet, and I'm like, oh man, I'm racing with Dale Jr. and Jimmy Mullis is in my group and things like that. I could not believe it, and just to be part of it and to learn, a part of me is relieved that I don't have the pressure of the 500 miler on me, because I would not be able to compete. And that's not me being down on myself. That's just, these guys are so good.
Absolutely.
Just so good.
Well, you got people that are, you got guys that have some sponsorship behind this that are, investing money in getting car setups based on the car that they're running from, these names that run it all the time and all that. And that's just, I'm so blown away by all of the amount of effort and the strategy and the play with all of this. It's so incredible to see. And I was talking to a guy last night that was side by side Kyle Busch for a few minutes on the track, and he's like, I wanted to drop back. Like, I'm not taking out Kyle Busch.
Yeah, no way, dude. I don't want to be yelled at on the comms by him. I've heard radioactive. I don't want that to happen to me. And like the other thing too is you have to look back at night 1 too, and how many of the NASCAR drivers didn't advance to next week.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch didn't. Anthony Alfredo didn't. Like, a lot of guys that are professional stock car drivers did not make it.
Yep.
And that's just, it's astounding to me. And it shows you, there's just, the sim is crazy, and it brings out the best in people, and I love it.
Absolutely. Hey, Matt, what's next for you on the iRacing world?
I don't know. I'm just trying to get better, and that's my main goal, is just to get better. Currently, sitting at a B license with about 1,000 I rating, but just trying to get better and learn and connect with people. And I can't believe I talked to Landon Castle, and Parker Kligerman. It's amazing. And so hopefully these guys will, guide me in the right direction and help me get better.
That's awesome, man. You got a social media? Where can everybody follow you at?
Sure, I do. So you can hit me up on Twitch at I'm 1,000 Realities. It's the full word, so 1,000 Realities. Or you can hit me up on Twitter at 1,000 Realities. It's the number 1,000 and then Realities.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for hopping in here for a few minutes. Good luck, man, and maybe we'll talk to you down the road.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
Yep, take care. Lap Traffic Nation, man, this is just, like I keep saying it. I am just blown away. This is so cool. Like, we got into this from a fan perspective right during COVID, and we saw all that was going on with the sim racing and how in depth it could be. But man, part of me just thought, man, a lot of that was just like the Cup drivers Xfinity truck, that had additional resources and stuff like that. To see the involvement in terms of what's at stake for these guys and the investment that they're putting behind trying to get some of this $15,000 purse that's out there in a couple weeks, it's just crazy. And I love every second of it. And I'm becoming a fan of this just because of the passion and the energy that everybody is bringing to this. I mean, you guys know the passion and energy that I bring to the podcast, and this is just incredible. I can't wait for next week because it's just going to amp up even more, which is going to be so much fun. Well, Lap Traffic Nation, the night is winding down. We are almost ready to start the fourth final race of the evening. The consolation race is going on right now. But I, at the moment, have Cage, is it Cognet on the line? What's up, man? How are you?
What's up? It's Cognier, by the way.
Oh, hell yeah.
Little French there.
Pour me one of those, why don't you? Oh, I love it, man. How's it going? Not too well tonight, eh?
Yeah. I mean, I can't complain. The Jerky Pro, Swordog, Glitch, Impala COT, was a good-looking car, but you can only control so much at Daytona. The super speedway racing. While it was fun, I gotta say, got to work on my wreck avoidance. And I got to work on better.
It's been a theme.
Yeah.
But hey, I loved it.
Seen.
You hit the sponsor, you hit the manufacturer, you hit it all, man. I love it.
I mean, if without those sponsors, I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have had the means with which to get out there. And I'm just really happy that, my dream, I've seen iRacing grow, and I've always been a NASCAR fan. I figured, what better way to live out my dream than to be on the service and slowly working to get my way up to the top.
All right. Now, you may not believe this, but I have been doing this last night and tonight with you guys and all this, and all the questions I've asked. You are the first person that I am asking this question to. Who's your NASCAR?
All right.
Who's your NASCAR driver?
My NASCAR driver is actually Jimmy Johnson, and there's an interesting story behind that.
Lay it on me.
So, in 2007, I was, growing up, still in school and whatnot, and I was lost. I didn't have a favorite sport. I was partial baseball fan, partial NFL fan, and for some strange reason I turned on ESPN, and it just so happened that the Brickyard 400 was going on, and I just tuned in, and I was looking at all the cars. Gen 4 is my favorite car body, and Jimmy Johnson blows a tire and hits the wall, catches fire and all that.
Sure.
And people are like, oh, why is he your favorite then? And because the interview he gave after that, he was like, I'm sorry, to my team, they put so much effort in. I've always liked his personality, and getting to watch his dominance and getting to watch, how other drivers see him and using him as a way to learn more about NASCAR. Obviously, with him being the other 7-time besides Dale Petty, that's a little bit of icing on the cake.
Absolutely.
But just, it's just who he is as a person. He's a good guy. Obviously, I've no scandals that I've seen. And just, he can wheel a race car.
Absolutely. He 100% can wheel a race car. All right, you mentioned baseball, man, and I mean, you must be like the omen here tonight, because I'm throwing some random stuff at you tonight, which is fun. You mentioned baseball. I'm excited for spring training. Pitchers and catchers have just reported for most teams. Who's your team, man?
All right, so as a New Yorker, I got to go with it, but same team that my grandma rooted for the New York Yankees.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Hey, listen, any team's better right now than my team, the Detroit Tigers, man. And the Yankees and Tigers had some battles there in the early 2000s in the playoffs.
Oh,
man.
yes, we did.
Oh man, those were some fun series. Those championship series, man, for the pennant. That was a lot of fun. Listen, man, what's next for you on the iRacing circuit?
I'm just gonna start preparing. I run the NIS and definitely also want to see if I can get myself prepared to run some Road to Pro. I really do want to take part in the eNASCAR Coke Series and bring my team, esports team, up to the top.
That's awesome, man. Where can everybody follow you on social media?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at @3DosEngage. You guys can also join my Discord. It's a 3DOS.
That's awesome, man.
Esports, and I'll throw up the thing on my Twitter. I'll throw up another thing. We are looking for more drivers and crew chiefs and anybody else. We're also just a community too. Want to come chill? Come chill.
That's so cool, man. Thanks for hopping in here tonight. I appreciate it. Good luck down the road, man.
Of course, thank you. I had a blast, and I can't wait for the next one.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Well, Lap Traffic Nation, that went a little long. I apologize about that, but this was just so much fun. I wanted to get as many racers on the show as possible. These guys deserve some spotlight in the Carnomaly 500 podcast. I had to do it. Everybody, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Go check out manscaped.com. Use code LAPT at checkout. Make sure you tune into this week's races on Twitch at eraser.gg. Big thanks to Landon Castle, Parker Kligerman, and all the drivers who came onto the show tonight. Don't forget, normal show next Tuesday, and then another bonus show next week. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!